Coming up on today's episode. I thought about titling this episode, No Seriously, What the Fuck?
I've really hurt some people, and I've done some damage.
No one goes into this wanting to make a bad film. The Weeknd should have stuck to making music. Almost the whole first half of the film,
Yes.
we're just watching the movie like this.
That's right.
The answers that you're looking for are lying just beyond the frame.
Hey there, everybody. I'm your host, Ryan Vanderhei. I am a writer, director, and longtime cinephile. And to my left is the newly 38-year-old Joe Parente. We just had a birthday for the birthday boy.
We did.
We just celebrated the other night.
We did.
You rotating around the sun a few times.
A few times.
A couple.
I did have a 38th birthday. It just wasn't Wednesday.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, Joe. Why are you here on the couch?
Excellent question. My path to coming here, I've done so many different things, but as of late, I'm an actor and a movie lover. And Ryan and I met in an acting class and realized, wow, we have a lot to say. We also agreed with a lot of stuff, and we also see the benefit of movies and good shows beyond just purely being entertainment.
Absolutely. You got it. Well said.
Thanks, man.
In today's episode of Beyond the Frame, we're talking about the 2025 experimental musical film, Hurry Up Tomorrow. And the theme,
Don't ask me.
I figured you do. And the theme we're going to explore is being honest with yourself. This is your spoiler-free section, so if you haven't seen the movie yet, you're safe. I will let you know when we're heading into spoiler territory. In case you want to see this movie, which
You're free to.
you're absolutely free to, on your own accord. I think I already know the answer to this, Joe.
Yeah.
But I have to ask it. It's just tradition here.
Throw it out there, man.
Did this stay with you after you got to your car?
It did, for a similar reason to a movie that we saw fairly recently. For the what the fuck did I just see of it? Because I want to eke out what I can of any film that I've spent 2 hours in the dark watching, and I was just like, what can I extract from that? Where are the pearls in that? Because I actually think there was something that was on the edge of being really good. Well, I guess we'll get to that. So it did, but I think like in the long run, like tomorrow, probably not.
Sure. And I think
you?
No, I think I felt the same way because I was a little torn, and we'll get into more specifics of that, but I thought about titling this episode, No Seriously, What the Fuck?
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's exactly. I felt that way. That was my most repeated phrase in my head while watching, was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What is happening? What? And there's going to be specifics we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
But I wanted to start with what I like about the film.
Okay.
First.
I
Let's
love
start
that.
there, right?
Okay.
Before I completely decimate it. Let's first start about the positive.
Let's throw some kudos.
Yeah, let's be optimistic here.
Okay. I appreciate that.
There were some good moments in this movie.
I agree.
There were some scenes that I liked.
Yeah.
There were some sequences I liked, some shots I enjoyed.
Yeah.
They were, few and far between, maybe we'll say, but they were there nonetheless, right?
Yeah.
Like the dream sequence. When he, I don't think this is giving anything away.
You mean the whole movie, or kidding? It wasn't. I did not spoil
that's
anything.
Not a spoiler. That's just a joke. When he goes, when he goes outside and there's no one there, and he goes down the elevator, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I do.
I enjoyed that scene. I thought, here's a little nugget of something. There's something happening here, and I like it. I'm interested.
It had an Eyes Wide Shut. Excuse me, not Eyes Wide Shut. Abre los ojos. Open your eyes. Did you ever see that? Tom Cruise.
Open your eyes?
Yeah.
Not Eyes Wide Shut?
No.
I have not seen that.
Yeah,
no,
where he goes out to New York City that has absolutely no one on it. And they did that shot on a Sunday morning, like daybreak, and they could only hold it for 8 minutes.
I thought that was like risky business or something when he does that.
No.
Huh. Yeah, because I've seen that before, like on socials, where they're like, this 10-second clip cost $1 million because they had to shut down Times Square or whatever.
And of course, what's Tom Cruise doing in it? He's running.
Yeah.
It's Tom Cruise.
He's
got to run in every movie.
He's running in every movie.
Yeah.
That was a good moment. I loved the music. I'm a fan of The Weeknd. I'm a fan of his music. I have followed him since the trilogy and have listened to all of his albums. I saw him live back in 2015 in Made in America Festival. He was fantastic. He sounded exactly like he sounded on my phone, on the stereo.
Yeah,
it was
sing.
like, wait a second, he sounds exactly the same. He's got a heck of a voice. He's a heck of a songwriter.
Yeah.
Jenna Ortega, I thought, was a breath of fresh air in this.
She's so good.
She's damn good at anything she does. She was fantastic. I enjoyed when she was on the screen. It was something to celebrate.
I completely agree.
Before,
Was that it? Was that it for the Sunshine?
Vanilla Sky.
It was
That
called
the one.
Abre los Ojos, the original Spanish. It's a Spanish film. And Abre
this is
los
a
Ojos
remake.
means, so Vanilla Sky. Sorry about that. Jesus.
Oh.
It is a remake. Sorry, all those cinephiles listening to us going, okay, that guy is clueless.
That guy doesn't know what he's talking about. No, that's an honest
God.
mistake. I didn't
My
know.
bad.
I said risky business.
My
What am I
bad.
talking about?
It's a Friday.
Before I pick this movie apart, you know what? Was there any scenes you liked that you can say without giving spoilers? Was there anything that you were like?
Yes, is what without giving spoilers. Yes. In the hotel towards the end, there was. We'll get to it, but it was a scene I really appreciated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I think there is nuggets of.
For sure, there are nuggets. That's why I gave it the contemplation I did, because there are plenty of movies that I don't. We've talked about this. By the time we get the car, like, I can't remember why I came here. Oh yeah, I just saw that movie. Because there were things in it that I thought had really something to it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Agreed. When I left the theater, I always talk about I go to the Thursday night premiere and it's packed. This was like there was 5 people.
Yeah, there were 7 people today.
Yeah. I'm walking out and I hold the door for somebody and he strikes up a conversation. He goes, "Weird ass movie, huh?" And I went, "Yeah, real weird.
Yeah,
real strange." And then it was weird because he said we're like talking about it a little bit, like, "Oh yeah, it's so strange." And then as we're parting ways, like at the end, this is a complete stranger. We're parting ways. He goes, "Yeah, you got to be nice to women, huh?" And I went,
"Whoa,
yeah, I guess so. That, maybe. Bye." It was just a weird parting thing to say to someone.
I want to
given the
comment on
context
that,
of the movie too.
but because we can't do spoilers right now, I can't say what I want to say about that.
We'll
because
get
I have
there.
a comment about that. Okay,
Well, let's
get there.
hold that thought. Let's
Yeah.
bookmark that. We'll
Okay.
come back to it later.
Okay,
So before I start picking this thing apart, I do think it's worth noting a couple of things. The director, Trey Edward Schultz, does have a very specific style.
for sure.
And this movie fits that style. Have you seen any of his other work before? Krisha, It Comes at Night, Waves. These are all movies that he's done before. I've seen It Comes at Night. It's a horror film. And Waves I've seen as well. It's an A24 indie. And I enjoyed both those movies.
Okay,
He's got a
hey,
more kind of like it edges on the side of experimental.
well, and it doesn't surprise me he's done horror films because it felt
At times.
empty, and it felt distant, and it felt impersonal, and it felt cold, like horror movies do.
Huh, interesting.
So a lot of it to me is like blue light and just it was chilly. Even his performances gave such a feeling of isolation, but that's what the artist was feeling.
Sure.
So I thought that was a pretty effective way of conveying that.
Yeah.
But I can see that he's made horror movies makes sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, having seen those movies, having been familiar with him, I immediately recognized his style in this from
Okay.
like the
Okay.
opening frame of the
Okay.
opening voicemail and everything. I was like, oh yeah, this is a Trey Edward Schultz film. Like, I'm in it. And his style's not for everyone, I don't think. I mean, we talk
Sure.
about, art's subjective. It's not for everybody.
Right.
Everything isn't for everyone. There's plenty of directors that just aren't my flavor.
Right.
They're just not my cup of tea.
Sure.
I mean, we've talked about that on the pod before. Like
Yes.
movies were just like, it was a good movie, but it's just not my thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think this director in particular has that, where it's you like it or you don't, and that's just the way it is. He's got a very acquired taste, and it's a little bit unorthodox. It's different. It's on the edge. And if you're not open to that, and if you don't like that, I can imagine people being extremely turned off by this movie.
Totally. And, I appreciate all of those things, being eclectic or weird or experimental or trying things, but also, does it propel the story? Is it serving, is it art for art's sake?
And that
is it someone going, this is so clever. I am so clever.
Right.
And when I can feel that going on, it irks me.
Totally. And we're going to get deeper into what you exactly just said.
Okay.
Also, this is so funny. This movie's very split. What I've seen on IMDb, what I've seen on Letterboxd is like, it's either 1 star or it's 5. It's either
That's
1
right.
star or it's 10. And a lot of the positive reviews I'm reading are online with very diehard The Weeknd fans.
Got it.
They're very like day one, like obsessed. This is like the artist of my lifetime. Those people are giving it like 10 out of 10. This is what we've always wanted. Something like that. So I can imagine if you're a massive day one Weeknd fan that you're probably going to enjoy this film. You're going to see a lot of the artist, you're going to hear a lot of the music, and it's going to wrap up things for you, because this is his like send off for the Weeknd persona, for like that artist, if you will. This is like his goodbye.
That's why the bed burned. Okay.
Yeah. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, we will.
But so yeah, if you're a fan of the Weeknd, a diehard, I should say a diehard, because I'm a fan. But if you're like true, like, my God, this guy is everything, you'll like the movie. Now, are we ready to start pulling back the curtain?
Oh my
here?
God, yes. I already gave spoilers away. Sorry.
No spoilers yet.
Oh, okay.
I'm just going to start decimating this thing.
Of course.
I'm going to start flattening this thing.
Let it fly. Let it rip.
So, the first point is an overuse of elements. What you said earlier, only using what serves the story. I mean, that's so important as a filmmaker, you have to kill your darlings, you have to, and that's not even just dialogue, that's not just scenes, that's all the decisions that you make. They have to serve the plot, the theme, the story, the characters. And if you're not doing that, it starts to feel disingenuous, and it starts to take the audience out of it. So then now you're not being as effective of a filmmaker as you can be. And I felt that so many times in this. I mean, keep the fucking camera straight.
Okay, that was getting to you.
Why am I
Exactly.
I almost texted you and was like, hey man, sorry ahead of time. This is going to like make you vomit.
Because Ryan knows I get kind of motion sick if there's too much camera movement.
The camera was
it
just
kept
going like
spinning
this
and
the
spinning.
whole...
Right. What's the point?
Almost the whole first half of the film.
Yes.
We're just watching the movie like
That's
this.
right.
And at times, there were times when I felt that it was necessary. There were times when like someone's, messed up. They took some drugs or they took some alcohol and like they're on the dance floor. I get that. Like, that's where I'm talking about using the element with purpose. But then if it's like a scene where somebody's driving in a car, I don't need the camera spinning around. Like, you're not doing anything to serve the scene. That serves no purpose. And when you overuse those, again, it's going to start to pull you out as the audience. You're going to start to go like, what?
Totally. There were
Why
also
is this-
some visual sequences that I could not make out what we were looking at. And it happened 2 or 3 times. One time there were just kind of embers. I'm like, it's pretty, but why? And there were other times where it's just kind of red and black, and I don't know if it's blood. I didn't know what I was looking at. But it's just the music playing, and I just thought, this is not a music video. And and I didn't understand why we were seeing what we were seeing. And also, because there were also some errors, if you will, early on in the movie that pulled me out of it.
Expand.
Well, let me see. Are
can
those
you-
spoilers?
Can you go spoiler free there, or because we can hold that thought?
We're
if you
going to
wanna
have to
wait.
hold that
Okay.
thought because I think it would give things away.
I'll bring it back up again. The second thing, an overuse of big emotion. So
Okay.
it goes the same way to me when it comes to elements. So if the entire film, the lead character is crying, I'm feeling
Okay.
nothing. I feel
Good point.
absolutely nothing.
There's no contrast.
But if you hold that for the emotional climax for like,
Yes.
whenever third way through the film, I'm going to feel it. It's going to impact me.
Right.
But if every single scene, I'm just seeing the character, he's crying, he's crying, he's crying, he's crying, he's crying, he's
Yep.
crying, he's crying.
Yeah.
It's just, I can't feel anything.
Yeah.
I,
It's a
I-
really
there's
good
nothing
point.
coming out of me because it's just becoming it's redundant.
Well, there's stasis at that point, in that sense of emotion. There's no
Totally.
movement. Yeah.
So you felt that way too?
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time.
I just kept being like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
And this is a sidebar. I don't want to spend too much time on this because I'm going to say something later about it, but The Weeknd should have stuck to making music.
Okay. Yeah.
And
I
we
hear
can
you.
just move on.
I
but,
hear you.
Sometimes
I hear ya.
people are, they're really, really damn good at something.
Yes.
And he is a exceptional musician. But that doesn't mean that he needs to
Yeah.
enter the acting world.
Yeah. Fair enough.
So I felt that a lot as
Okay.
well. And that could maybe play into this overuse of big emotion where
Could
I'm
be.
going, "Do you really need to cry here? Or
Yeah.
can we,
Yeah.
And this is tough because it's a film that's about, it's deep emotions and somebody who's going through something difficult and is self-destructive, and that's a tightrope to walk.
True.
I think it's too much of a bite for him, for sure.
Well, I'm aware of The Weeknd and his music. I'm not a fan on the level that you are, but it is using the actual singer, the actual songs, and then putting it in a fictitious environment. Interesting. And potentially really confusing for that guy who's playing himself, but he's not playing himself. And
I wondered that a lot too when I was watching. I was like, is this like a true story?
right, exactly. Because like
A dramatized version,
it
maybe?
made me think of Purple Rain, because there's Prince doing his kind of own biography in Purple Rain.
I haven't seen Purple Rain. Love the
Now,
song, though.
now I think the album and the movie came out about the same time, the soundtrack, which was awesome.
Yeah.
And it was autobiographical. It really was Prince, and it really was about his life.
Did you like it?
wasn't-
Was it a good movie?
I really enjoyed it. It made me see Prince in a new light, which made me appreciate him more.
Okay.
God, that was a long time ago. I was 20 years old but it was
So yesterday.
yesterday. Yeah, 18 years ago, according to your math. But it was because it wasn't Prince playing somebody else, and this wasn't The Weeknd play. This was The Weeknd playing somebody else that's really close to him, and it's got his music, and it's like, what?
Yeah.
So-
The next thing I'm going to say is it was confusing.
That's exactly.
It was ridiculous.
It was confusing.
It was over the top. There was plot holes, characters that didn't mean anything at all other than to support another character. They had zero dynamicism to them.
I did love Barry Keogh.
Yeah.
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 In
Like the
that
character
role,
or him in the role?
Him in that role.
Oh yeah, totally.
So good.
I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Him and
He's
Jenna
so
Ortega. I mean, they'll
But
smash
Jenna
anything.
Ortega, I get kind of, I think there's so much potential for her, for both of those actors. There's
Which
so
makes
much.
me a little bit like, I want to throw this question to you,
Sure.
but I'm seeing Jenna Ortega take a couple of like roles that are not great, and in movies that are not great. And is that her? Is that the manager? Is that like what's happening there where she's taken like really not great roles in really shitty movies?
I wish I could answer that. I can't.
Because she's got so much potential. She's such a fantastic actress.
One of the things I wondered halfway through this movie, and there wasn't really dialogue until about an hour in. I was like, finally the camera has stopped and now they're actually having some conversation. I was like, oh my God, that took a long time.
I can breathe now.
Right. And she's one of the producers of this movie.
I saw that, yeah.
So I thought maybe this is how they could afford her. That maybe she gets money on the back end off the gate.
Well, she ain't
I
getting
don't
any money
know.
on the
No,
back end of
that's what
this,
I
can
thought
promise you
too.
that.
But I don't know about the decisions. I still think she crushes whatever she's in.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just genuinely curious as a person. Like, is she like, you got to read this script and go, this movie's dog shit. I'm not acting in this. I mean, this is rough. But is she a fan? I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, I
don't know
maybe I
either.
should have done more research, looked at more interviews.
There really wasn't much to find. I went looking and I couldn't find a whole lot.
It's too early.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is
we
too
got
early.
to give some time for it. But this, coming back to what you said earlier, this felt like one big music video.
Yeah.
That's really what it was.
Yeah.
The music is supposed to serve the film, not the film serve the music. That's a music video.
Right.
So
Right.
So that's why this felt like that, because it felt like we were just one big conglomeration of music videos into one story. And if that's what they were going for, yeah, sure, they did it. But in terms of like a cinematic experience, a film,
That's right.
a movie, like,
Because here's something I thought of someone who's just, I'm aware of The Weeknd. I know his songs when I hear them out, in the world. When they showed his first performance, just of the one song, I thought you have to be a fan of this guy, because all he does is walk out on stage and sing it and like walk back. I was like,
Yeah,
what's interesting about that?
Yeah, you just
Besides
hear him-
absolutely nothing.
Yeah,
There's
you hear him
nothing interesting about it at all. So I thought, even if this were a music video, that would be a shite music video.
yeah, just a guy walking.
Just a guy walking, and there's no band.
Right.
It's just him.
Right.
And I maybe being an oldster, I like to see the dynamism of the whole band.
Totally.
And there wasn't. It's just him and this crowd that sounds like they're 1,000 miles away.
Sure.
Is that's where I thought, well, we're getting the real feeling of isolation here, and separation and distance. And I thought, if that's what you want to convey, and loneliness, you're doing it.
Sure.
But also, if make this performer dynamic and interesting. Why are these people going nuts?
This guy's just walking around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice voice. But why is it?
That's going to lead into my final point here. This felt very self-indulgent from both Abel
Hugely.
and the director.
Hugely.
It felt too heavy-handed from both of them, like it was a pissing contest between the two of them. Like it just felt overt, almost at a point where I was like, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. You're The Weeknd. I get it. You're this hugely popular guy,
Mm-hmm.
and you're an art. Like, I get it. And then with the
He's
director,
not human.
and he's not right. And the director, with all his little again, the elements that felt they weren't serving the story, that he was just doing it. It was like he was just flexing.
Yep.
Look what I can do with the
Right.
camera. Like, it just was
Right.
like, all right,
Yeah.
I get it.
He should watch My Dinner with Andre or something. I don't know if you know what movie that is.
I don't know what that is.
It's
What
pretty
is-
much two guys sitting there at a table having a conversation.
Well, and it's so strange because if you watch Waves, it's like an intimate, honest
Oh, wow.
exploration of a family that experiences a tragedy. And there is a lot of dialogue and a lot of great, just genuine scenes. And this was just, and then maybe again, like, are we misdiagnosing this? Like, was it trying to give us that absence, that isolation?
And I was giving it the credit for that, because I thought I thought it was very effective in that sense. And if it is trying to convey that, and I thought, you're doing it really well. But the flexes you're talking about with the camera work and the spinning and these other things, they felt just like flourishes that made me, there are certain movies where I just think if I were, high as shit, this would be, like, ooh, I'd really be into it. But I just kept wondering why. I kept asking why.
Yeah. What is the purpose of this?
Right.
What is the purpose of this scene? This
Right.
conversation, this camera move, this weird red fuzzy.
Why are we looking at this?
I don't know what that is. What is that supposed to
Exactly.
represent
Exactly.
or mean? Like, it just wasn't clear. It was very confusing.
That's right.
And it just ended up feeling a little bit flat to me, a little bit absent, a little bit empty. The movie itself felt empty outside of
and perhaps that was
the story.
the story. And in that sense, super effective.
Sure.
Super effective.
Well, are you ready to see if our stars aligned on this one?
Yes,
Oh,
I am
boy.
ready. I don't even have to take my phone out.
I don't actually I don't need to either. I already know what I gave it. I'm guessing you gave it a 2 stars.
I gave it less.
Me too.
I gave it
You gave it 1. I gave it 1.5.
I gave it 1.5 and then I scaled it back. Wait, maybe I scaled it up.
I love that you scaled it back.
Maybe I do need to look
Yeah,
at
check it. I want to see
Um,
if you scaled it back. What's the and then give me like a brief just science behind the move, whether you went up or down.
Because I want to give movies credit, because I want I have it's hard it actually hurts me to give a
I know,
bad
me too.
review.
Me too.
It really hurts. I don't like saying 1 or 1.5 stars. It upsets me. My body temperature has gone up because it upsets me.
Yeah, we're artists.
Because right.
We get it. We understand.
We think about the
expressing
incredible effort that goes out. And, I just think about in class, if my teacher says something a little, I'm like, oh, and for people to put themselves out this way and to release a film like this, and you put yourself out for all the world, and for 2 guys sitting on a couch, some random dudes just say, well, I didn't think it was,
yeah.
I am not
Painful.
Francis Ford Coppola, but
Right.
but I am part of the public. I am part of I am an audience member. You want to reach as many of me as possible,
Sure.
as many of you as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted to, it's like I wanted to give notes. It was like, can you tweak, if you probably too, can you tweak a few? You're looking at me like, because I was like, because if you could tweak this, because I got to tell you, in the last 15 minutes, I sat up in my chair. I dug it.
Huh.
So when we get into the spoiler part,
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
okay. And
Okay.
that's where I wanted, that's why I was giving it the 1.5, because I was like, there was something redeemable here.
I want to give it the benefit of the doubt. Listen, no one goes into this wanting to make a bad film. No one.
Nope.
I mean, unless it's for like farce or some sort of like ridiculous reason, no one's going. This is something that was made with intent, and
Sure was.
and there was a vision, and so that's where I feel that what you feel, where I'm like sitting there pressing the 1 star, and I'm going,
yeah.
oh, that hurts.
And I don't know if I'm going to feel good about the 1. It's hard because I went straight from there to come in here.
Yeah,
And so I haven't had enough time to digest it.
I've had
really.
a day to let it sit and sink in, and I will tell you, I still feel the same as when I walked out.
Okay.
It has not gotten better in my eyes.
Fair enough.
But let's learn a little fun facts about the film, shall we?
Yeah,
There's still
let's do
some
it.
fun to be had.
I'm sure.
Rachel Zegler was considered for the role of Anima before Jenna Ortega was
Interesting.
cast.
Okay.
What a different movie we
Yeah.
would have had. I'm glad Jenna was the one that was cast. Not that Rachel would have done a bad job, but I think Jenna really fit that role to me.
She did, and she's so watchable.
Oh, spoiler alert. I'm just going to do it now because I want to
Do it.
say something.
Yeah, okay, good.
We're going into spoiler territory
Good,
here.
let's
If
do
you
it.
haven't seen the film and you want to see it, by all means, go see it, come back and listen to the rest. Like at the end when she's dancing
Yeah.
and stuff, I was like,
Yeah.
I could just,
Totally.
she's great.
She's
so
great.
natural.
Yeah.
So, and
Yeah.
that's, I've heard is like one of the harder things to do. Like that's where people get nervous, actors, is when you got to like dance.
And she crushed it.
When it's not like the crying scene. It's like when you got to like get up and like dance
Yeah.
in front of everybody.
No, she crushed it.
crushed it.
And she was really moving. Like
Yeah,
she wasn't
oh,
just
yeah.
kind of giving a little shimmy. She was going for it.
She was going for it.
And she did it well.
Yeah. It just felt natural.
Yeah.
I thought that she was, again, one of like the bright lights
Completely agree.
in this film. This film was in post-production for nearly 2 years because they couldn't attract any prospective distributors. Lionsgate ended up purchasing the worldwide rights in November of 2024, but it sat for 2 years waiting for some prospects.
Interesting.
I wonder if that's because they saw a screener. Yeah. And they went, oh, shit. I'm not sure we can make money out of this.
I wonder if they re-edited it or
if
made
this
any
wasn't
changes in
yeah.
post-production.
Oh, like after Lionsgate got it?
Yeah.
Because that was only November, so that's only 6 months ago, 5-6 months ago.
Okay.
I'm not sure if they would have had time, but
yeah,
that's a good question.
Okay.
So now that we're in spoiler territory,
yeah,
let's talk about our theme.
Okay.
Because there is something we can take away
For
from
sure.
this. We can extract
Absolutely.
something from this movie. If you want to say it touches anything at all, it's about being honest with yourself, facing who you really are and what you've really done and not running away from it. It's utterly ridiculous and out of nowhere, and it makes almost zero sense, but which is why I was curious when you said you liked the ending. Anima, Jenna Ortega's character, ties the weekend up and says that she will let him go if he's just honest with her. What? Where did that come from? Why are you saying that? What does that have to do with anything? I don't know what. She's all of a sudden an expert in mental health.
Well, this is where
I was very confused.
This is where the inconsistencies in the movie were really frustrating because, first of all, like I couldn't find that it was filmed in New Mexico, but it looked like New Mexico where she burns down that house. And by the way, it's not out in the middle of the nowhere because when the camera does turn around and they show the house burning, you see a big rig drive by behind it. So it's pretty close to a major highway, which is probably the 25.
Yeah.
Or the 40. But anyway. I lived in Santa Fe for a couple of years.
Yeah, we never. Was that her mom's place? Was it her mom? Was anyone
from
in
the
it?
phone call that came later? We get that it looks like it was mom's, and it looked like a parent's place. It didn't look like her place.
Yeah, it just wasn't clear. Like it wasn't really explained.
And there were things like when she filled up the gas can at the gas station, and she's lugging it back to the car. I'm like. I guess she's going to put it in the back seat because that thing's heavy.
Oh, yeah.
She ended up just throwing it in the back.
Yeah, like tossing it in.
Oh, because like all of a sudden it's empty. And little things like that really, she slept in the car overnight. In the winter, it looked like New Mexico.
And the window was down.
And she just gets up and she would have frozen to death. I mean, it
looked frigid cold out.
She was just fine, like in her normal clothes, sleeping in the car overnight. I don't think so. And so little things like that really
start to add up.
They do start to add up. And then at the end, or towards the end, when he is tied to the bed, all of a sudden there she is with the gas can. Did she leave? I didn't see her leave. When did she bring the gas can up?
That's why I'm like, is he in a dream?
Exactly. And that's what I thought. And then he walks away. He walks down the hallway and we see the hotel room. And then I thought, okay, it would make sense that was a dream, but then why did we have the backstory on her? To me, it would have made more sense that he just sees her in the audience. And that could be the beginning of some fever dream. But we gave her a backstory, which made all of the rest make no fucking sense.
Oh, you're so right.
Right?
I'm so glad you put it like that. That just clicked in my mind. That made so much sense because if you give a backstory to a dream,
right,
that doesn't really fucking make any sense.
It doesn't.
No.
And so it makes the ending, which I wasn't so nuts about, where he coming back to like being he's going to perform. He's going to be the Weeknd again. And you wonder, did Barry Keogh's character ever exist? Did she ever exist?
Yeah. Did he actually get his throat cut?
Yeah. Right. And here's what I'm just going to say about should I just say what I really appreciated and really liked about
absolutely.
this?
100%.
He is tied to the bed and she is saying to him, just be honest with me. Mm-hmm. And he kept fighting. Where am I? And I just thought, there was a thread of brilliance in there because to me, this could take a long time to explain. I'm trying to think of a short way to do it.
Please.
Conditioning is part of the fabric of being a human being. And habits come out of conditioning. And conditioning happens very invisibly and quickly and easily. And all of a sudden, before you know it, you're taking the same route to the grocery store and to work. And you do the same thing in the morning. And you do all this without even thinking. That's part of conditioning. And to break conditioning is very, very, very difficult. You have to see it, and sometimes it takes very extreme measures, and then you have to really want it. And her tying him to the bed saying, be honest, because he's been bullshitting himself and the women in his life, and he's been getting away with it because he's this big star. And she tied him to a bed, and she won't let him get away with it. He's struggling, and he can't get up. And I thought, there's something really smart in this. Really smart. And then he actually sang for the first time. And I thought that could have been so powerful if they hadn't been laying on the emotions the whole time, like you pointed out earlier.
If you held the emotion till that moment.
Exactly. Then it would have been, and Jenna Ortega and the way she's looking at him, like, and that's what she was his angel to me.
Yeah, she was the catalyst.
She was the catalyst, and his manager might have been his buddy, and I love you, but it's like, love you, man. That's not real love. And you're listening to his story, and I came here from Ireland, and we were poor and everything. It's like, yeah, he's your meal ticket. So have some more blow and fucking get on stage. Is that really your friend? Is that somebody who really loves you? You could tell The Weeknd, this character is breaking down. He's mentally in a horrific place.
Yeah.
He's like, you okay, man? Anyway, come on, let's get you on stage.
Yeah. It's just
like,
basically
that isn't a friend.
100%.
That isn't love.
And that's why some of this felt like it was like a true story. It felt like this is something, it felt personal. It felt like something maybe he had gone through.
It did. And that's where, if we could have given him notes, like,
just like a nugget
and cleaned it up. And to me, there was so much potential in there.
Yeah.
So I loved that when she pours gasoline on him, he knows to me, it takes such an extreme to really get through to people. For some people, like my mom on the other side of cancer, she was given a death sentence.
Yeah.
She was told she would not make it. She did. And she came out the other side a completely different person. And one of the things she said to me, I was like, Mom, what's changed for you? And she said, I'm not afraid to die.
Yeah, that's huge.
Because she'd just been there.
That's huge.
And she was changed by it.
That's going to fundamentally change
this
someone.
Has the opportunity to change him. He's tied up. He's got gas doused on him, and a woman holding a flame saying, come on, don't bullshit me.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow.
Yeah.
And he didn't. And I thought, good for you.
Yeah, like it could have.
That could have been massive payoff.
I get what you're saying, totally. That could have been a more impactful moment. Had we not had the rest of what was happening.
Big time.
I totally get that. And that's how I felt about the dream sequence. It felt like there was something really profound there.
There was something profound there.
He felt so
emptiness.
alone. Empty.
Yeah.
There's no one around.
That's
and then
right.
he's trying to go up. He's trying to go to the surface.
That's right.
He's trying to get better, but he can't. He can only go down.
Agreed.
And then at the bottom, we see what it was that's the cause of his... And it's this like whatever, this girl, which
was silly to me, and I thought that was a scapegoat. I thought, no, you're still not being honest with yourself. That's
of course,
not your problem.
Of course,
yeah.
And then he wakes up and he's like, it's like it was a dream, but then now we're like back in time because he hears her singing again.
Yeah,
and then it was like very again like confusing, and it just didn't land the plane. It could have landed the plane.
Exactly.
And it didn't.
Agreed.
We all ended up in the drink. We all ended up dead. The plane did not land successfully.
No.
But it could have. Like there was something. I could find something in this. It just didn't stick the landing.
Yeah, I agree. I which again makes me sad.
In that sequence you're talking about with the gasoline at the end, she proceeds to play him a few of his songs and tell him, the artist that wrote the songs, what the songs meant.
Yeah.
Which she's going, this is a techno, bop, but really what it's about. And I'm like, you're telling the artist what his work is about?
But I completely get what you're saying.
I know what they're trying to go for. Like, oh, he just made the music, but he doesn't really know that it's about something deeper within him that he's crying out.
See, you can look at it that way. Or to me, I also was looking at it as she's kind of reminding him. He wrote it. He knows. But it's like he was getting that reminder. And she is people were dismissing it as like some kind of technopop thing, but I know it was deeper. And to me, I thought you're telling him, you're reminding him because he's still busy resisting and get me out of here and blah, blah, blah. And she's going, hey, this is what this song is. I didn't dismiss it. And I just thought you're reflecting him. So I was trying to give it the benefit of the doubt.
Sure, and I respect that viewpoint. That's not how I felt. I was like, this is utterly just ridiculous. And everybody in the theater was laughing.
A woman in front of me laughed at that
Nobody
too.
was taking it seriously.
Well, and that's why I didn't give it more stars, because to me, if it had connected the dots a little more cohesively, coherently, then I would have given it more.
Absolutely agreed. Me too. To piggyback onto something else, get us
Sure.
away from the movie a little bit. I wondered if you could talk about something that you maybe a time in your life when you had to be honest with yourself.
Oh God.
Through either somebody else being the catalyst, as Jenna Ortega's character was in this, or by your own self-reflection. Is there a time where you really had to be, just one, where you had to really be honest with yourself?
So many.
I like the way
So
you're
many,
looking
Ryan.
there, yeah.
So many. Because
I've got so many
because
too.
I've really hurt some people, and I've done some damage. Like I said, I haven't like physically hurt anybody. I'm not going to go to prison for these things, but things that really hurt people. And I had to I took long periods of really looking hard at myself. At one point, when I moved from Santa Fe to Los Angeles, I wrote this, in the computer, I didn't have a backup. So this journal, which was like literally hundreds of thousands of words, is gone forever.
Oh,
And I called it The Real Joe.
I remember
And
you telling
things
me
that I
about this.
wouldn't even almost let myself think about myself. Like, I can't go there. I can't go there. And I put it all down. I got it all out there for me to look at and for me to go, yeah, I did do that. I did do that. I did that too. And owning it.
That's hard to do.
I've done a lot of that.
That's
Ryan.
really hard to do.
I've done a lot of that. Well, and some of it I did because I kind of felt like I had to, because I hurt feelings along the way and hurt people I genuinely love.
Totally.
And to do that is so painful, and you don't want to do it again. So without being really specific, I don't know if that's
No, 100%. I love that, and I appreciate you for sharing that, and I commend you for actually doing that, actually taking action, and actually being. Because again, it's like you said. I mean, sometimes we got to be tied up with a gasoline and a flame
That's
in
right.
order for us to.
That's right.
To know. So you on
That's
your
right.
Was it on your own accord, or was it someone that?
Well, it was of my own accord, but I felt like that there was such a price being paid. I just thought, I can't ever do this again.
Do you feel like that helped you? Do you feel like that process
massively
allowed you to
massively,
sort of heal from that?
Massively. What I still wonder about is, have I cleaned it up sufficiently? Kind of like the wake of damage you leave.
I got it. Yeah, totally.
And for you?
Well, this was interesting timing.
Oh, okay.
Because as you know, I'm going through a move.
Yeah.
So I'm going through stuff. I'm going through like old
and
things of
memories.
mine. And, I'm going, do I throw it away? Do I donate it? Whatever. And I come across a letter that a woman had written me in college.
Wow.
And this letter detailed how much I hurt her. And it was like a sobering. I had read it at the time when she gave it to me back when I was in school, and it had no effect on me.
And now?
And then now it was like, it nearly brought me to tears. It was like, I can't
I'm
believe
surprised. I wouldn't blame you if it did bring you to tears.
that I treated someone this way. I mean, she laid it out for me.
You know what?
It was like,
she gave you a gift.
yeah, 100%. And what I felt most,
Wow.
what really I felt most bad about was that in it, she's apologizing. For, like, she would say things like, I know, I'm just being such a bitch. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for, like, not being okay with sleeping with you while you have a girlfriend. Like, things like that. And it just it was like a 3-4 page note of like her like true feelings and how she felt. And she said, like, I just feel like I have to get this out. Like, this is therapeutic for me. And like, you really hurt me and all these things. She listed and detailed it. And I was like, man, what place was I in at the time? How far into my own bullshit was I that I couldn't even see what was right in front of me? Like, I was such a narcissist. I didn't even realize that what the actions that I had were affecting people this deeply, even though she fucking handed it to me.
Mm-hmm.
Here, I want to get, like, she handed it to me.
God, it's so good that you kept that, Ryan.
Oh, man.
So that this Ryan could read that.
100%. Because I obviously, I am worlds apart from that person that I was in college. And just to see and like read those words and think about myself in that context, I was like, wow. It really took me, I know I've talked about it on the podcast before, but it took a friend of mine, somebody whose opinion I held in high regard, somebody I trusted, somebody I was close to, looking me in the eyes and telling me, like, what you're doing is fucked up. And you're treating people horribly and et cetera, et cetera. And that's when I did the real Joe. That's when I did the real Ryan. I looked within and I started to self-reflect and I went, oh my God, what have I become?
Mm-hmm.
What all these people I've hurt. And I didn't even, it's like I didn't even realize it. I didn't even know. I just was going through the motions of it for whatever reason at the time. And
you just weren't ready to
I wasn't ready to face the facts,
No.
and I wasn't ready to hear it. And then I had to have somebody close to me say, this is how it is. No bullshit, no cut the shit, no sugarcoating anything. This is who you are, and this is who you've become. And I went, ugh, that's not who I want to be. And that was the catalyst. So that was my, Jenna Ortega character, if you will.
Yep.
But
Yep.
I think it's like, sometimes that's why I commend you for it being sort of on your own accord. I'm sure things happened to you in your life that kind of led you to that point, of course. But for you on your own accord to go, I'm going to start this journal and just put down all the things I really don't want to say. I really don't want to admit about myself. That takes a lot of courage, man.
Well, I appreciate you saying that.
It takes a lot of...
It didn't feel courageous. It felt, it was just...
it's difficult.
I had put myself into such a bad situation. Again, I just thought I can't keep doing this.
Yeah.
And look, feedback from people is one of the biggest gifts we can ever get. It really is. Feedback from your friends, from people who you have some trust in, who you respect. Feedback is a massive, massive gift. And boy, did she give you a gift with that letter. And your friend who sat you down, that's a real friend.
Totally.
Who gives it to you straight.
100%. You need people like that in your life who are going to cut the shit, who are not going to feed your ego,
Right.
who are going to sit you down and say, and look, that's tough love.
And
it's going to hurt.
And that's where, to me, if we tie this back to the movie, the manager friend getting it, I thought she's his angel because she's making him face something.
Mm-hmm.
She took out this kind of demon, if you will,
that was just feeding all the bad.
And she's like, get straight with yourself, man.
Sure. Yeah, there was a nugget here. There was something interesting here. They just couldn't put the pieces together to make it work, which is kind of a shame.
Yeah, it is.
Because there are parts about it I liked. There are scenes I liked, and it just wasn't able to stick the landing, and that's tough.
Yeah, it is.
But it's a hard thing to do. I mean, that's why, there's so many movies, and how many of them do you hear about?
Yeah, that's so true.
Because it is so incredibly difficult to put all the pieces together.
Yeah.
It is. You can have the great performances. You can have the great score. But if you don't put all the rest of the pieces together, it's gonna fall flat.
Yeah.
Wow.
Whew,
All right. Well, that was quite a discussion.
Yeah.
Quite a personal one.
I enjoyed that.
But we got to, I mean, see, look, even movies that we weren't too fond of can spark this kind of discussion.
And so there is value in that movie.
Totally. And it's the context to which you choose to see it.
Yeah.
And we're choosing to see it from a point of what can we learn? What can I extract from it? How can I apply it to my life?
Yeah.
And what can it make me think about? And obviously it makes us think about deeply personal parts of ourselves.
Agreed.
So it was effective in a certain
It definitely
way.
was. It definitely was.
So I think, I'm just waiting for this to catch up here.
Are you going to recommend? You think?
I'm going to do some recommendations here eventually once I get through this. So
your top 5.
Yeah. So if
I'm really curious to hear that.
If you enjoyed the movie Hurry Up Tomorrow, and you want to see more like it, here's 5 you can stream right now. For an honest film about a family navigating loss, check out the 2019 movie Waves, now available on Pluto TV. For a nightmarish fever dream about uninvited guests in your home, check out the 2017 film Mother, now available on Prime. For a film about a sinister darkness engulfing a world-renowned dance company, check out the 2018 film Suspiria, now available on Prime. For a film about the intense darkness surrounding the fashion and modeling industry, check out the 2016 film Neon Demon, now available on Prime. And for my personal favorite, if you want to watch a film that is basically a drug trip masking it as an exploration of the afterlife, check out the 2009 film Enter the Void, now available on AMC Plus.
That was a good one.
So do you like that movie?
Yeah, I do.
love that movie.
Yeah, I do.
That's a trippy movie. So what do we learn from watching Hurry Up Tomorrow, Joe?
Bring it home, Ryan.
That Abel might want to reconsider the decision of retiring the Weeknd's persona and heading into film and TV. Because boy, does he make some amazing music and some lackluster film and TV projects.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to stick to what you're good at. Yeah. No offense. However, if there is one thing we can take away, it's that sometimes the only way we can heal ourselves is to be brutally honest with ourselves.
Yeah, very true.
Sometimes the pain we're experiencing is self-inflicted. And if only for a moment we could see ourselves for who we truly are and what we've actually done, then we could start to work towards a healthier us. Thank you so much for joining us today. And remember, as always, you're the main character in your own life. So don't be afraid to take a step back and take a look at the bigger picture. Because sometimes the answers that you've been looking for are lying just beyond the frame. We'll see you next time.
Peace.
Peace.